What's up, YouTube? This is GroudonEmpire, and I'm back for another episode of Rock Global 1000, episode 34. Yeah, 34. Last episode, well, forget about last episode. This just a quick introduction. Man, my tongue is slipping. Rock Global 1000 is a series where I try to take on the ladder, and because it's the last season of X and Y, I try to. And forget about that, because I want to prove my skill to YouTube and the world that I'm a good player, I take on this ladder, challenge myself to get to the top 1,000 by the end of the season, because 990 of the top 1,000 global players are Japanese, which means only 1% of the top 1,000 global players are actually non-Japanese. That's a very exclusive place to be in, and that's why my goal is to do that. That's why I throw out Global 1000. Currently, we are on episode 34, as I said early, and Today's episode is special because it is versus another American. Now, my account GroudonEmpire is actually Japanese card because it's a Japanese capture card and everything. But I am a North American, so when I do see another United States player on the ladder, when like almost every single one of my opponents is Japanese, it is such a soothing experience to see somebody else who's also a North American, at least in terms of region. Like I know I'm what region I am. Like I'm not. I know I don't live in Japan, but still, it just feels soothing to actually see somebody at a high level who's not in Japan region. So ShinYa, I've seen ShinYa so many times in the top ladder in United States. He's actually a top 15 United States ladder finisher for this season, and I think in past seasons he's always like in the top 20 or 30 or whatever. So he's definitely a great player. And for whatever reason, at 5 a.m. in the morning, I had a chance to play, and so that's sick. Like, where does he live? Los Angeles? I don't know. Probably. So he came with the points of 1778, while I had 1750 something. So yeah, that's what happened. And now, starting from now, I give myself 2 minutes to analyze the teams as I select the team that I'm going to build. Choose that I pick. So we look at our opponent's team, and right from the get-go, we notice a Garchomp and a Gyarados. That means Rocks is a necessity. So I start off with the Garchomp. And then I look to see if Blaziken can do work. And I see Hydreigon, it does work. Aegislash, it does work. Heracross, it does work. It does not like Gyarados. But between Stealth Rocks and Rough Skin damage and this and that, I can play around that, as I always have with Gyarados in the past. But versus and Manectric, I can just outspeed it and then kill it, especially if I don't come in Intimidate. And then, with a little bit of prior damage, Garchomp is gone too. So, Blaziken I'm bringing. So I'm bringing Garchomp and I'm bringing Blaziken. Last Pokemon, who should I pick? Now, you might think because of this Gyarados I should bring Zapdos. However, notice there's a Manectric. Zapdos' life is made 10 times difficult when there is a Pokemon that can really abuse the fact that Zapdos wants to use an electric attack versus like a Gyarados. So whenever I see this, because I've lost so many times to these kind of teams, whether it's a Subcom Mind Raikou, it's almost always a Subcom Mind Raikou, or it's just another team that has a Gyara Manectric. So because of that, I don't bring Zapdos, and instead I end up bringing Azumarill, because Azumarill walls the Hydreigon. And it can potentially set up versus an Outrage or another Dragon move locked Garchomp, but especially a Gyarados. So that's why I bring a Azumarill, because that it's more reliable than a Zapdos. All right, so you'll see my team in a second, and you can see that I did bring the Garchomp, the Blaziken, and the Azumarill. And a lot of you are probably wondering at this moment, why didn't I just bring Zapdos? Again, I just told you why. You think that, okay, I can predict it and use Heat Wave, whatever. But that's not enough to take down the Dharma Manectric, you know what I'm saying? And it's going to eventually kill off Zapdos. And then what am I going to do versus Gyarados? So first turn, it starts, the battle begins. They start off with the Manectric. It doesn't go for like a whatever. It just switches out into the intimidating Gyarados. Me, I go for a Rock Tomb right from the get-go, because I can lower the Manectric speed, and then I can scare it out and set up Stealth Rock on that turn. Or, as you saw right now, I can Rock Tomb whatever it switches in. And in this case, a Gyarados. And it does good damage, lowers its speed. And I set up Rocks next turn, and my opponent uses Ice Fang. and they get rough skin damage, and they already took the Rock Tomb. So they're getting all this damage piled up on them. I use Rock Tomb again, and I land it. Why I used Rock Tomb is just in case he switched out into somebody. Otherwise, I would have just used Outrage, right? And it does enough damage, and he's going to use Waterfall, and he gets more rough skin damage. So he has 2 rough skin damage, and he has 2 Rock Tomb damage. So look at his health. I'm in good shape to just come in with the Zoomeril and set up with Belly Drum, which I said at the earlier team preview. And that's also what I thought in real when I actually had this game. So I'm not saying it after the fact. I'm literally telling you that's what I was thinking. And if you see this, seriously, you should be thinking that's exactly what I was thinking. I'm not trying to lie here and make myself sound like I'm amazing. Now, my opponent used Taunt. If I am amazing, it's because I am. I'm not talking like this to pretend I am or acting. Anyway, self-compliments. So I go for the Aqua Jet because, I mean, I don't want to superpower and lower my stuff when I don't need to, right? That's why I use Aqua Jet, because +6 is going to kill Gyarados at that stage. I can KO the Garchomp after Stealth Rock with +6 Aqua Jet. And honestly, I wish my opponent should have just went for Manectric and then Volt switched out, whatever. Doesn't matter, I win. I Aqua Jet everything and I win. So that's really what this game was. So you think you can take down Blaziken just because you have a Gyarados, and you think because you have Manectric you can handle the Zapdos duo too? Nah, man. I have this thing. You need to have a Venusaur on your team if you really want to cover all of your holes. So that's awesome. A +5 Aqua Jet after Stealth Rock takes down the Manectric. And yeah, so what we learned from this, team is scary. You know, the Zapdos and the Zapdos Blaziken duos definitely dealt with well between the Gyarados and Manectric. But what about Azumarill? Manectric can take down an Azumarill that's not set up. Sure, that's why the Gyarados has Taunt, but that's why you run Rock Tomb in this format, so you can actually, you know, do things other than just damage. You know, the utility is awesome, and it's just, you saw what happened in this game. You know, because of Rock Tomb, I was able to set up a Belly Drum while my opponent went for a Taunt, and that was a good game from that point. Even if my opponent decided to use Waterfall or Ice Fang to go for like flints, not flinches, but freeze or whatever, or do some chip damage, it wouldn't have got them the game, as you saw. Hope you guys enjoyed this episode, and I hope you guys learned a little bit of how you can set up opportunities for Azumarill to actually set up, and about team preview and choosing the right 3 Pokemon that you want to choose from your team, especially the team that I'm using. You know, breaking down your opponent's team and what they might do and how it's going to trouble your Pokemon. That might be an obvious choice. You know, Zapdos might be an obvious choice for Gyarados, but when you analyze your opponent's team, you realize you actually don't want to bring the Zapdos. You know, it might be well versus the Garchomp and the Aegis Slash and the Heracross and the Gyarados, but it does not, it's not like it's super, like it's not like it, you know, you can just take everything down, and then you also benefit the Manectric by doing whatever you do with the Zapdos. So when you realize that, you realize that you indeed want to not bring Zapdos and bring the rest of your team, and if your team is not well built enough to deal with this problem without the Zapdos, then in my opinion you need to have a better team, because this kind of strategy you're going to see a lot. Manectric and Gyarados, Electivire and Gyarados, Subcom Mind Raikou and Gyarados. Subcom Mind Raikou and Gyarados is the scariest duo in my opinion, and I freaking love Raikou. My favorite Pokemon after Charmeleon and Groudon. It is my 3rd favorite Pokemon, my favorite Pokemon, competitive Pokemon in this format, or in any format really. So that's important to note, and it's just, and I love it. You know, I actually lost to Subcom Mind Raikou the game before this, and it hit home. And you know, this is why recently in all these games I started to realize when I should not bring Zapdos because of these tactics. And it's really important to note that you will instantly, well, if you have a well built enough team and you're a good enough player, you'll instantly start winning more games because of realizing when you shouldn't bring your Zapdos. So I hope this helped you guys out, because definitely more than this game, definitely I feel like this is a very important analysis, you know, this episode. And ShinYa, man, I hope that you watch YouTube videos and you stumble upon this. You know, your name is gonna be in the title. So I hope you see this, and hey, it'd be awesome if you're actually one of those guys that do YouTube, not do YouTube, but like talk on YouTube and stuff. If you have a YouTube account, whatever. So this is GroudonEmpire, and I hope you like and subscribe and all that nice stuff. Peace out.